People in New York have been spotting strange drones over the city for years, but most of what they see never makes the evening news. Late at night, when the streets are quieter and the sky over Manhattan is black, locals report glowing objects hovering in perfect silence, moving in ways that don't match commercial quadcopters. They dart between skyscrapers, stop midair without a sound, and then vanish at impossible speeds. These aren't the tourist drones you can buy in a store. They appear unmarked, sometimes completely black, sometimes giving off a faint blue or red glow. Witnesses say they've seen them near airports, bridges, and even over Central Park in the middle of the night, places where ordinary drones are strictly forbidden to fly. One of the most unsettling things about these sightings is how quickly they're ignored. People have posted videos online showing fleets of lights moving in synchronized patterns over Brooklyn and Queens, only for those videos to disappear or get buried under debunking articles within hours. Eyewitnesses who've called the police report being told it's just NYPD surveillance, yet when pressed, no official record of those flights exists. Some aviation trackers pick them up as unknown objects with no transponder signal, meaning they're flying illegally in restricted airspace. The FAA never comments on them. In late 2023, several delivery workers in the Bronx filmed a drone hovering above them for nearly 20 minutes, scanning the ground with what looked like an infrared beam. When they tried to approach it, it shot straight upward and vanished into the clouds in seconds, faster than any commercial drone is capable of. The video went viral, then mysteriously disappeared from TikTok and Instagram within days. Accounts that reposted it reported being shadow banned or locked out temporarily. Why would social media platforms care so much about a drone video unless someone pressured them to remove it? People who work on rooftops and high-rises claim they've seen drones that are far larger than anything sold to the public, some the size of small cars, with multiple rotors and no visible navigation lights. One construction worker described a craft that hovered just outside the 50th floor of a midtown tower for nearly 2 minutes, then slid sideways into the darkness without making a sound. He said it felt like it was watching them, not just flying by. Security footage from the building that night reportedly malfunctioned and didn't save any recordings. Even stranger are the drones spotted during blackouts or storms. During the Queens power outage of 2019, multiple residents reported bright triangular patterns of lights hovering in the sky right as the grid went dark. When the power returned, the lights were gone. It's led some conspiracy theorists to believe these drones aren't just monitoring the city but actively involved in testing responses to infrastructure failures. If true, whoever is behind them is operating completely outside of public oversight and using New Yorkers as unwilling participants in urban experiments. More witnesses have started to report that these drones don't just observe, they sometimes follow people. A man walking home late at night in Staten Island claimed that a small, completely silent drone began tracking him down the street, staying about 20 feet overhead. He changed directions twice, and each time the drone adjusted its course to match him. When he ran under a tree canopy, it circled and waited until he re-emerged, then kept following. He said he eventually hid in a gas station restroom for 20 minutes until he was sure it was gone. There was no reason for a police or news drone to tail one random pedestrian at 2 a.m. Delivery drivers and night shift workers have reported the same experience. Some say the drones are equipped with lights that switch from visible white to an almost invisible infrared glow of the kind you only notice if you catch it in the corner of your eye. One Uber driver captured dashcam footage of a craft keeping pace with his car down the FDR Drive at 3 a.m., flying just above the lane markers. When he slowed down, it slowed. When he sped up, it matched him. Then, without warning, it shot straight out over the East River and vanished. Security cameras, oddly enough, seem to fail whenever these drones are near. Several building superintendents have complained that entire blocks of surveillance footage have gaps during nights when residents saw strange lights overhead. The official explanation is always technical malfunction, but why do these malfunctions always line up with sightings? A bodega owner in Harlem tried to show a reporter footage of a hovering object near his shop, but the files on his DVR were corrupted. His neighbor's camera across the street also failed for the exact same 10-minute window. People are beginning to whisper about who could be behind this. Some think it's just government surveillance, NYPD, FBI, or DHS testing out new tech. But others point out that there are no official flight logs, and that even federal air traffic control operators have privately admitted they have no idea who's flying these things. Could it be private contractors, using the city as a testing ground? Military prototypes being trialed in secret? Or something far more experimental, autonomous AI-operated craft gathering data about civilian behavior? A more chilling theory is that these drones are not just passively watching, but actively scanning and collecting personal information. Several people claim that their phones lost signal or glitched badly right as a drone passed overhead. One man said his smartwatch registered a sudden spike in heart rate data at the exact same time a glowing craft appeared outside his apartment window. If these drones can tap into wireless signals or scan biometric data remotely, that's far beyond what consumer technology can do, and very likely illegal. Local journalists who have tried to investigate these sightings often find doors slammed in their faces. Sources go silent, video files get accidentally deleted, and official spokespeople refuse to go on record. One independent blogger reported receiving anonymous emails warning him to stop digging after he posted several drone photos on Twitter. His account was suspended days later for violating community guidelines, even though the images showed nothing graphic. The biggest question remains, why New York? Why would whoever controls these drones risk flying them over the most heavily surveilled, airspace-restricted city in America? Some theorists suggest it's precisely because New York is so dense and chaotic it's the perfect test lab for observing human reactions in real time. If a drone can navigate the maze of skyscrapers and avoid thousands of police cameras without detection, it can probably operate anywhere on Earth. And then there's the possibility no one wants to say out loud that these aren't government drones at all, but something entirely different, a technology we don't officially possess. The way some of them move at right angles, stopping instantly, accelerating faster than any known aircraft, seems to break the rules of physics as we know them. Pilots have reported seeing glowing objects over JFK and LaGuardia that don't appear on radar and vanish before interceptors can arrive. Whatever they are, they're not supposed to be there. Late one night, a man walking home through Queens said he saw one of the drones hovering just above the streetlights, perfectly still, no sound, no propellers. He filmed it on his phone, but by the time he raised the camera again, it shot straight upward and disappeared behind the clouds. He posted the footage online, and within hours, his account was suspended. Other users who shared it reported receiving strange automated messages warning them about disinformation. This pattern kept repeating. Every time a new video gained traction, it vanished along with the user's profile. People began saving the clips offline, but then strange things started happening to those who claimed to have them. Some reported their laptops stopped turning on, phones wiped themselves, even external hard drives were mysteriously corrupted. The idea that random technical failures were happening to everyone who captured footage felt too coincidental. Conspiracy forums lit up with theories. Were these drones part of a classified government project? Or were they something not from this world? A few ex-military sources claimed they had seen similar technology overseas, experimental surveillance platforms that could map entire city blocks in seconds. Others argued no known drone could remain completely silent, fly in stormy weather, and make right-angle turns at high speed. Then came the reports from pilots. Several airline crews reported unidentified objects near their flight paths over New York airspace, described as dark spheres or cubes with glowing edges. The FAA publicly denied receiving any unusual reports, but leaked audio from air traffic control suggested otherwise. In one clip, a pilot can be heard saying, "That thing just crossed our nose at impossible speed." The controller simply replied, "Copy that. We'll file it." And then silence. Witnesses started noticing that the drones always appeared before big events, large protests, power outages, even celebrity appearances. It was as if they were gathering data before something happened. A tech whistleblower came forward, saying these devices could capture not just video, but also wireless signals, Bluetooth connections, even conversations by triangulating sound waves. If true, this would mean they could collect information on thousands of people simultaneously. The more people looked into it, the more they realized how much effort was being made to keep this under wraps. Articles would disappear, videos would be age-restricted or demonetized, and accounts would be banned, Some New Yorkers stopped reporting sightings altogether, fearing they'd be targeted next. But the sightings didn't stop. Instead, they became more frequent over Central Park, near Wall Street, even around schools at night. That's when independent investigators brought in electromagnetic scanners and thermal cameras. They discovered spikes in fields every time a drone was nearby, as if it was broadcasting or receiving massive amounts of data. And yet, nobody knew where that data was going. When they tried to track the signals, the trail seemed to bounce off satellites and reroute across the globe. The strangest detail came from a group of amateur astronomers. They claimed they could see similar drones outside the city, not flying, but orbiting. Tiny lights in the night sky that moved in perfect synchronization. If true, it meant whatever was happening wasn't just local surveillance, it was part of a much bigger network. Some say this is the next stage of control. Others say it's a test for technology we aren't supposed to know about for decades. Whatever the truth is, the fact that so many are trying to hide it might be the most chilling part. Soon, people began to notice patterns in where the drones appeared. They weren't random, they seemed to form invisible grids across the city, lingering over certain intersections longer than others. Independent cartographers started mapping sightings, and when they connected the points, a strange pattern emerged. It looked like the outline of an enormous circuit board laid across New York. Entire neighborhoods lined up like nodes, as if the city itself was being scanned, turned into a living data network. Then came the blackout. One summer night, large parts of Manhattan lost power without warning. In the darkness, multiple witnesses reported seeing a formation of glowing drones moving silently above the skyline. They didn't just hover, they arranged themselves into perfect geometric shapes, pulsing with light as if communicating. Power returned 12 minutes later, but not before hundreds of residents posted about the eerie show in the sky. By morning, most of those posts were gone. The city government refused to comment. When journalists pressed the mayor's office, they were told it was a matter of national security. That phrase set off a firestorm online. National security against what? Foreign surveillance? Or something no country was willing to admit. A leaked memo suggested the drones were not operated by any official U.S. agency but by a contractor with undisclosed international partners. Some theorists believe this means the drones are part of a corporate surveillance project, testing new crowd monitoring algorithms on millions of people without consent. Then there's the sound. Or rather, the lack of it. Acoustic engineers tried recording the drones but found something even stranger. The sound spectrum around them went silent. It was as if they absorbed noise in a radius around them, leaving a pocket of dead air. Birds stopped chirping when they passed. Dogs reportedly refused to go near areas where drones were sighted. It's not just visual surveillance, it might be psychological conditioning. But the most disturbing claim came from a group of urban explorers who said they found a drone that had crashed on the edge of Staten Island. Before they could document it, and marked vehicles arrived and confiscated it. The explorers said the craft wasn't like any drone sold commercially. It had no visible propellers, was completely smooth, and seemed to hum faintly when touched, as if still alive. When they tried to follow the vehicles that took it, they were intercepted and told to leave for their own safety. Now, locals say the drones have begun appearing at lower altitudes, sometimes hovering close to windows, watching. Some residents claim they've received anonymous calls warning them to stop filming or face consequences. And yet, more and more footage keeps leaking: night vision clips, thermal captures, even clear close-ups showing strange markings on the drone surfaces. Some markings look like QR codes, others like runes no one can translate. The question everyone is asking is why? Why risk so much effort to hide them if they are just ordinary surveillance devices? Are they mapping New York for some future event? Are they training AI systems to predict human behavior? Or are they something completely outside of human control, and the secrecy is to prevent panic? Experts say that whatever these drones are, they represent technology far ahead of what is publicly acknowledged. They can stay airborne for hours without refueling, fly in storms, avoid radar, and vanish almost instantly. And the more authorities deny their existence, the more the sightings grow. For New Yorkers, it has become part of daily life. Look up at night, and you might just see a silent black shape staring back.